Hello viewers, this short video lecture is going to be a continuation of the previous video lecture in which we have introduced the term like invertible linear transformation, singular linear transformation, non-singular linear transformation, and we have discussed couple of properties of a linear transformation with related to these terms. In this particular video lecture, we will discuss a theorem we will discuss the property will which will show us that the invertible linear transformation can be built upon, as a various equivalent as the various other equivalent statement. Okay, so we will discuss only one theorem having the equivalent phrases for a invertible linear transformation satisfying certain property. So let's begin this particular session. So we call it as the consequences of a rank nullity theorem because most of the justifications are given through rank nullity theorem. So let's begin. First, try to understand the statement. You are given two finite dimensional vector spaces with the property that their dimensions are same, and T from V to W is a linear transformation. So two things to be remembered: T from V to W is a linear transformation with the dimension of V and W same. Then these are the following statement which are equivalent to say that T is invertible or T is non-singular. So T is invertible is as same as saying T is non-singular, which is as same as saying T is onto, which is as same as saying that if x1 x2 till xn is the basis for V, then Tx1 Tx2, that is the image set, is also the set of images point of this particular set is also a basis of W, and it is also same as saying that there exists a basis for V such that the image point will be a basis for W. So see, there are many ways in fact to show that the following statements are equivalent. Whenever we get such kind of statement to prove, we use many techniques. Okay, but the most common one is to show that these are equivalent by proving them in a cyclical order. That is, you can show first that first implies second, second implies third, third implies fourth, fourth implies fifth, and fifth implies first one. So this would mean that 1 is if and only 2. That is, 1 implies 2, 2 also implies 1. How does that will be true? 1 implies 2, but 2 implies 3, 3 implies 4, 4 implies 5, which will imply 1. Okay, so in this way we are proving that all these statements are equivalent. So even 2 implies 3 and 3 implies 2 will also be true with the similar idea. Okay, so let's try to prove this considering each of the statement. So proof. So first I will prove that 1 implies 2. Let me see what is, so I will assume that 1 is true. Let T from V to W be invertible. Then what I need to show that this implies that T is non-singular. So if you remember the definition of non-singularity, linear transformation is said to be non-singular if only 0 maps to 0 via T, which means that the kernel of T is the singleton 0. This is the definition of non-single. Okay. So, because kernel of T is basically is a set which goes to 0. It's a set of point which goes to 0. So if kernel of T contain only 0 vector, then that means that 0 is the only point which map to 0. No other vector, that is no other non-zero vector will map to 0. Okay, so that's what we need to show. So T is invertible. This implies that T is 1 1 injective and T is onto. Now T is 1 1 implies kernel of T is the singleton 0. This is because T is 1 1. This is what we have proved as a property of the kernel of T, and this immediately implies that T is non-singular by the definition of non-singularity of T. Right? So by this we have proved that 1 implies 2. Now to show that 2 implies 3. So we will assume that the second point is true and we will show that the third statement is true. So what we will assume? We will assume that T is non-singular and we'll show that T is onto. So let T be non-singular. Well, this is in fact we have proved that T is non-singular implies that T is 1 1. So that is kernel of T by definition is this. This implies that T is 1 1. That's one property of kernel of transformation. Now we have also seen that if T is 1 1, that would be same as saying T is onto, provided the dimension of V is same as the dimension of W, and that is what is given. So since dimension of V is same as dimension of W and T is 1 1 by one of the previous property which we have proved in the previous video, T is onto. So with this we have proved that non-singularity implies that T is onto provided the dimension of the domain is same as the dimension of the codomain. Now we will prove that 3 implies 4. So 3 implies 4. So for that, first I will assume that the third statement is true, and the third statement is that let T from V to W be onto. So let this be true. What I need to show that, okay, first let us try to understand the meaning of this statement. If x1, x2 till xn is a basis for V, then tx1, tx2 dot 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 tx is a basis for W, which means that T preserves the basis. So far what we have seen is that T preserves the linearly independency. That if T is if T is non-singular. So if T is non-singular and if x1, x2 dot 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 xn is a linearly independent set in V, then tx1, tx2 dot 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 txn is also linearly independent in W. This happens provided T is non-singular or T is 1 1. So the same thing now we have to show that it preserves the basis. That is, if x1, x2 dot 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 xn is a basis for V, then tx1, tx2 dot 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 txn is a basis for W, provided T is onto, or it is as same as saying T is non-singular, which we have already proved. Okay, so yeah, so only thing we will have to show in this case is that the linearly independentness will follow automatically because of the previous property. Only thing we need to show that this set is going to span W. So first we will have to start with any basis for W. So and such kind of basis will always exist as V is a finite dimensional space. Okay, so let x1, x2 and this goes on till xn be a basis for V. Okay, so now claim is that if I collect the image points, then this is a subset of W, but it is not only a subset of W, it forms a basis for W. We already know that if T is non-singular, in fact T is onto, we have shown that it is non-singular, then this is a, if this is a linearly independent set in V, then this is a linearly independent set in W. Okay, so T of x1 till T of xn is linearly independent in W as x1 xn is linearly independent. Okay, the reason is T is okay. By the way, it's only mentioned that T is onto, but that is enough to say that T is non-singular. Onto, in fact, T onto implies 1 1, so T is 1 1 as it is. Okay, so which is same as saying that T is onto, because the dimension of V is same as the dimension of 1 1 implies that T is non-singular, and that's why non-singularity preserves the linearly independentness. So only thing I need to show is that linear span of this set Tx1, Tx2, and this goes on till Txn is same as W. Okay. So we have to show that this is a subset of W and W is a subset of this set. But in fact, one thing is very trivial to observe, that if I take any element here, it's going to be a linear combination of this Tx1, Tx2, and so it goes on till Txn, and so this will be T of those linear combinations of vectors in V, and therefore definitely it has to be a part of W. So we will skip that part. So I'll mention that clearly linear span of this particular set is a subset of W. So only thing, this is very easy to observe and one can very easily prove it. So only thing I need to show that W is a subset of the span of Tx1, Tx2, Txn. Okay. So let me take an element in W, let Y belongs to W, because W is a codomain. The element, I take it in general of the form Y. Okay. Okay. So if Y is a point in W, can we find an element in V which maps to Y? This is your Y. Can we find an element in W which maps to Y via this T? And what assures that T is onto? So since T is onto, there exists a point X in V. See, so far I haven't used the fact that T is onto, only here. Okay. So there exists a point X in V such that T of X is equal to Y. But you know that V has a basis, and so therefore V is spanned by that particular set, and therefore this X have to be written as the linear combinations of the elements of the basis of V. Okay. So since X belongs to V, which is spanned by linear span of which set? X1, X2, and this goes on till Xn. Since I have not used any notation for this and this set, I would proceed with this notation. Okay. So this means that X can be written as alpha 1 x1 plus alpha 2 x2, and this goes on till alpha n xn. Okay. For some alpha 1, alpha 2, and this goes on till alpha n in R. Right. So definitely this will be a point in V, because x1, x2 till xn are the points in V, and V is a subspace. Right, and therefore, see, basically what I have to show is that this Y belongs to linear span of this Tx1, Tx2 till Txn, which means that I should be able to express this Y as a linear combination of this vector tx1, tx2 and txn. So from here, from what I have now, I can write down this y as t of x, which is same as t of this particular vector. There is alpha 1 x1 plus alpha 2 x2, and this goes on till alpha n xn. Okay, but you know that this t is a linear transformation, so you can split this as t of alpha 1 x1 plus t of alpha 2 x2, and this goes on till t of alpha n xn. Okay, and using the second property of the definition, you can take scalars out, so this can be written as t alpha 1 tx1, alpha 2 tx2, and this goes on till alpha n txn. So ultimately what we have shown is that for some alpha 1, alpha 2 dot 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 alpha n in R, y, the element from W, can be expressed as a linear combinations of the vectors of this set. Okay, that is tx1, tx2 till txn, which means that y belongs to linear span of tx1 comma tx2, and this goes on till txn. Okay, so that is enough to say that W is a subset of linear span of tx1, tx2, and this goes on till txn. Okay, so now combining 1 and 2, I can say that W is same as, okay. So now I know that this set is a linearly independent set and it spans whole of W. So this should implies that the set consisting of tx1, tx2 till txn is a basis. And in fact, you know, one thing you would observe, that does this make sense? When this would make sense, you know that the dimension of V is same as the dimension of W. So definitely the number of element in the base, in a basis, in any basis of W would be same as the number of element in a basis of V, and which is true in this case. Okay, it has n element. We have started with n element in the basis of V. Okay. Okay. And so we will prove now fourth implies fifth, which is not difficult to prove. So fourth implies fifth. So fourth, what does the fourth statement says? That you are given any, see, try to understand the difference between these two statements. The fourth statement says that if you are given any basis for V, then its image set will form a basis for W. And fifth statement says that there exists a basis for V such that the image point will form a basis for W. What assures that there exists a basis? Okay, so in fact, if you can find a basis for W, then definitely through this fourth statement, clearly the image point will form the basis for W. So only thing you need to show that there exists a basis for W and V, and that's trivial because dimension of V is finite. So if you take it to be equal to n, any basis of V will contain n element. Okay, so I don't write down what is the statement fourth. So first of all, I should show that there exists a basis. Now since V is a finite dimensional space, vector space, there exists a basis for V. Okay, so let's say that B equal to x1, xn be a basis for. But what does the fourth statement implies? If you have any basis for V, then the image point will definitely form the basis for W. So therefore, I can say that Tx1, Tx2, this is from the assumption, we have assumed that the statement fourth is true, is a basis for W from statement 4. So this implies fourth implies fifth. Now at the end, the most important one to be proved here in this cycle is that fifth implies 1. See, as I mentioned earlier, this order can be shuffled and it can be proved accordingly. But if you don't want to produce a new proof, say suppose for examination you want to show that first is same as fifth and fifth, first implies fifth and fifth implies first. That is, first and fifth are only equivalent. Okay, so if you don't want to show that, if you don't want to produce your own proof to show that 1 implies 5, you will have to prove 1 implies 2, 2 implies 3, 3 implies 4, and gradually 4 implies 5. Okay, you would be definitely having the proof for 5 implies 1 because that's how we are proving. Okay, same thing even if you want to show that 3 implies 4 or 3 implies 5 and 5 implies 3 is 2, then you will have to go in this way. To show that 5 implies 3, then you will have to go this. Okay, there, I mean, knowing whatever the data you have, you can produce your own proof also. Okay, but mathematically it has to be correct. So at the end we prove that fifth implies 1. So let me start this on a fresh page. Fifth implies 1. So let us try to understand what are this statement. Fifth says that there exists a basis for V, say x1 x2 till xn, such that the image point tx1 dot 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 till txn is a basis for W, and what I need to show is that T is invertible. So to show that T is invertible, we need to show that T is 1 1 and T is onto. But to show this both, we know that both these are equivalent. So it is enough to show that either T is 1 1 or T is onto. Okay, but we will show in this case that T is 1 1, and to show that, we just show that the kernel of T in this case is the singleton 0. It is as same as saying that T is non-singular. Okay, so in fact this equivalency we have already proved. So let's try now. So as I mentioned, it is enough to show that T is 1 1. That is, it is enough to show that the kernel of T is the singleton 0. Okay. Say, let this statement fifth be true. That is, suppose there exists a basis x1, x2, this goes on till xn, a basis for V such that tx1, tx2 till txn, the image points, forms the basis W. So we will show that T is invertible. Okay, so that is to show that T is 1 1 and T is onto. But we know that dimension of V is same as the dimension of W. So therefore this implies that 1 1ness is same as onto, right? Injectivity is same as surjectivity in this case. So it is enough to show that one of this. I'll show that, I mean, it is easier to show that T is 1 1. So it is enough to show that T is 1 1, which would implies that T is onto also, and therefore T is 1 1 and onto implies that T is invertible. So this I will show that, so we will show T is 1 1, this is equivalent no matter whether dimension of V is same as the dimension of W, but in all cases for any linear transformation T is 1 1 if and only if kernel of T is the singleton 0. So we will show that T is 1 1 by proving kernel of t is a singleton 0. We know that 0 always belongs to kernel of t. Okay, but what I want to show is that here in this case 0 is the only point in the kernel of t. So this can be shown by proving that if I have randomly any point in kernel of t, then at the end ultimately that point have to be a 0 vector. Okay, so let me start. Let x belongs to kernel of t. Let x belongs to kernel of t. So by definition this would mean that its image is 0, right? So this means that by definition t of x is equal to 0, 0 vector in W, right? But what we know about this x, see I want to express everything in terms of this x1 x2 till xn and tx1 tx2 till txn. Okay, so the reason I'll let you know, I have to show that this x is equal to 0. Okay, so ultimately since x belongs to kernel of t, which is a subset of V and which is spanned by this x1 x2 till xn as it is a basis, I can express this x as a linear combination of the of this vector, that is x1 x2 till xn. So this would mean that t of, okay, I'll write down the linear combination. I'll prefer alpha 1 alpha 2 till alpha n as a scalar. So alpha 1 x1 plus alpha 2 x2 and this goes on till alpha n xn equal to 0. Okay, for some alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha n belongs to R. See, the reason I am not mentioning here is to shorten the proof, but how do I get this? X belongs to linear span of this from here, okay, x1 till xn, which means that x should be able to express as some linear combination of this vector, and so we have this. Okay, so ultimately this would imply that alpha 1 tx1 plus alpha 2 tx2 and this goes on till alpha n txn. I'm just simplifying this, I'm just removing the applying the linearity property of this transformation. Okay, fine. So what do you observe here, that on the left hand side you have the linear combinations of the vector tx1 tx2 till txn, but this set is linearly independent in W. Why? Because it's a basis, and therefore this should imply that the scalars associated to this have to be equal to 0. See why I can use the linearly independentness here, because the linear combinations of vectors of tx1 tx2 and txn is equal to 0. Okay, so for no other value than 0 this is possible. Okay, so as the set tx1, I am just using the fact that it is linearly independent, I am not using the complete fact that it is a basis. Okay, that's enough to say that this x is equal to 0. Okay, right, because of this. So therefore x, which is same as alpha 1 x1 plus alpha 2 x2 and this goes on till alpha n xn, will become 0 into x1 plus 0 into x2 and this will go on till 0. So this will become a 0 vector in B. So therefore this is enough to say that the kernel of T, because if I take any element from kernel of T, it turns out to be a 0 vector. So therefore the kernel of T contains only one vector, that is 0. This implies that T is 1 1. This implies that T is on 2 as the dimension of V. See, this plays a crucial role here. If the dimension of the domain is not same as the dimension of codomain, many of these things would have been failed. Okay, and therefore T is invertible. So this is how we prove the equivalency of this statement in a cyclic order. Okay, so the reason why it's called as consequences of the rank nullity theorem, because we show that even in the case we show that T is 1 1 if and only if kernel of T is a 0 using rank nullity theorem. Okay, so that's why most of the things have become simpler. So that can be treated as the rank nullity or the corollary of the rank nullity theorem. Okay, So with this particular with the proof of this particular theorem, we end up this video over here. Okay, and after watching this completely, please mention your roll number in the comment section for the attendance purpose. Thank you for watching this video complete.